Good morning everyone, I am Desiree Magna Ostique and I am currently taking up Bachelor of Physical Education second year. We will discuss the chapter 4, the theoretical perspectives, and there are 6 questions to answer. But before we start, I will give first what is theoretical perspective. Theoretical perspective is a set of assumptions about reality that inform the questions we ask and the kinds of answers we arrive at as a result. In this sense, a theoretical perspective can be understood as a lens through which we look, serving to focus or distort what we see. So let's begin the question and answer portion. For the first question, what is a scientific theory and why our theories are important in the study of motor skills? Scientific theory is a statement or a set of statements that relates observation about a specific phenomenon of interest in coherent, logical, and testable way. A good theory does 2 things. First, it accounts for a significantly large class observations on the basis of only a few simple, though powerful, prepositions. Second, it makes definite predictions about the results of future observations. It is testable. Theories are important in the study of motor skills because it allows for the production of a new motor skill. Question number 2. What 2 theoretical approaches underlie the contemporary study of motor skills? The 2 theoretical approaches underlie the contemporary study of motor skills are the closed-controlled system and the open-controlled system. Closed-controlled system is a system in which the mechanism of control are internal and closed to influences outside of the system itself that focuses on the functioning of the central nervous system. Closed-controlled systems are those in which control is explained entirely by processes inherent within the controlled system itself and which are capable of meeting system goals in isolation from the surrounding environment. The second approaches are the open-controlled system, explaining human-controlled learning and control of focuses not solely on the central nervous system or any bodily system, but rather on the interaction of various bodily to include both physical and cultural aspects. Question number 3. What are close-controlled approaches to theory building, and what are the major theories comprising this approach in the study of motor skills? The close-controlled approaches to the theory building is the closed-loop control system. It is a mechanical or electronic device that automatically regulates a system to maintain a desired state or set point without human interaction. It uses a feedback system or sensor. Closed-loop control is constructed with open-loop control, where there is no self-regulating mechanism and human interaction is typically required. A servo mechanism is a closed system in which an error detection device constantly monitors the system of discrepancies between desired and actual conditions and automatically makes adjustment to correct detected errors. A thermostat is an example of simple servo mechanism. When the thermostat controlling the heater in your home is set at 72 degrees, for example, it constantly monitors room temperature and make adjustment by turning the heater on or off as needed to maintain the desired temperature. In the case of a home heating system, the thermostat uses feedback concerning current room temperature, which is then compared to a desired temperature in order to detect any discrepancies and control the on and off output of the heating system so as to correct temperature errors. In a closed loop, the major theories comprising this approach in the study of motor skills is the cognitive-based theories. It is closed system theories in which the central nervous system is held to be responsible for all elements of motor control, with the primary agent of control being a motor program. The dominant expression of cognitive-based theories are information processing models. Question number 4. What are open-controlled approaches to theory building? And what are the major theories comprising this approach in the study of motor skills? The open-controlled approaches to the theory building is the open-loop control system, represent the most faithful adherents to notions of the motor program and have, in one form or another, been advanced for many years. Their greatest development, though, began in the 1970s in response to perceived weakness of closed-loop controlled explanations. In an open-loop system of control, there is no mechanism for monitoring sensory feedback and correcting ongoing movements, as in a closed-loop system. Rather, perceptual sensing mechanisms detect information in the environment and act to determine whether a response is required. Sensory information used in this fashion is called feed-forward. In open-loop control system, motor programs are viewed as being pre-structured, their movement commands completely or nearly completely set prior to the initiation of movement. The major theories comprising this approach is the study of motor skills in the schema, a set of rules relating the various outcomes of an individual section's short distance of a throw to the parameter values the individual chooses in order to produce those outcomes amount of the force. According to schema theory, motor programs are generalized so that a single program is capable of controlling an entire class of actions. Question number 5. What are the relative strengths and weaknesses of each of the major theories underlying the study of motor skills? The relative strengths and weaknesses of each of the major theories underlying the study of motor skills are the dynamic system theory, schema theory, and Adams' closed loop theory. Dynamical system theory arose because of a conceived weakness with cognitive-based theories that had troubled a number of movement scientists over the years. These weaknesses was seen as the perceived inability to the central nervous system, particularly the cortical areas of the brain, to control movements in isolation from other significant control agents. Remember that cognitive-based theories are closed and top-down theories, meaning that the brain, in this case, commands all lower regions of actions, production without the need for outside help. Schema theory. In 1975, Richard Smith proposed a theory of motor program. Smith recognized that the deficiency with contemporary theories, such as that proposed by Adams, was the idea that a separate motor program was necessary for every variation of particular skill, thus the problem of novelty and storage. Smith's solution to this problem was simple yet elegant. He proposed that every unique expression of a skill does not require a separate motor program, but that the motor program is more general in nature and adaptable to a wide variety of different ways in which a specific skill might be performed. The theory that Smith developed from these ideas is called schema theory. Schema theory provided a new and useful framework for studying motor skills. It rushed in several new lines of research that have significantly advanced our current understanding of how skills are learned and controlled. Although challenges have been made to all the theory in the years since its introduction, and some continuing problems pointed out. Today, it remains the most influential and widely accepted theory of motor control and learning from a cognitive-based perspective. Adams' loop theory. The most completely developed closed-loop theory of information processing was proposed by Adams in 1971. Two specific problems, which came to be called the novelty problem and the storage problem, came in from a particular criticism by those involved in the study of motor skills. The first of these problems, the novelty problems, concerns how a specific motor act is performed for the first time, because the memory trace is resulted of practice. How is an unpracticed skill performed for the first time? Technically, in Adams' theory, the memory trace is non-existent because it has not had been developed through previous practice. A second aspect of this practice is that Adams' theory holds the perceptual trace is threatened as a function of practice. The second criticism of Adams' theory was point to the storage problem. If specific memory and perceptual traces were recorded for every way in which a particular skill had been practiced, as proposed by Adams, their alleged repertoire of separate representation of movements would have to be stored in memory. Question number 6. How can differing theories be useful in explaining motor skill behavior, even when they are based on seemingly contradictory theoretical assumptions? Theories be useful in explaining motor skill behavior, even when they are based on seemingly contradictory theoretical assumptions. The first theory is the schema theory, has provided education with a way to think about representation of some forms of complex knowledge, while the dynamic system theories allow for the understanding of seemingly random non-linear behavior and other phenomena observed in both living and non-living systems. And the last theory is the Adams' closed-loop theory, ability to reduce a system's sensitivity to external disturbances. For example, opening of the dry door, giving the system a more robust control as any changes in the feedback signal will result in compensation by the controller. Like these theories are all different interpretation, but they have give brief point in dealing with human movement.